It is Monday, October 20th, and we have a Game 7 in the American League Championship Series. Toronto forcing that against Seattle. Welcome to, it is Red Sox Now. It's a Red Sox exclusive channel presented by Fan Arch. I'm your host, Mike Antonellis. At the Radio Mike is how you find me. I will comment on this show and all of the episodes as soon as I can today. I promise. Hope you had a great weekend, but we can't ignore baseball, right? Like, I have my own format, even though it's 100% Red Sox content mostly. We're not going to ignore playoffs, right? Wouldn't common sense say that is a little weird? How could we ignore this? The bats have been, I think, a theme of this series, definitely. I thought maybe this series would play a lot like the Dodgers with the way that Seattle can pitches, and things lined up right. And they're on the road, which never is a good thing. But they had Gilbert, Yasevich, who was a young guy, got the win. Give him credit. He's 2-1 in the postseason. But you think if you're Seattle and you have Gilbert, that's pretty good. But Ernie Clement had a night as well. He had a double and a triple. Barger, who I liked a lot when we saw him in Buffalo, had a big hit, a home run with 2 outs, and Vladdy hit his 6th homer of the postseason. Wow, you were seeing why Toronto was never getting rid of him. So it forces a Game 7 on Monday night. Kirby and Bieber. Bieber, by the way, pitched at Polar Park this year. We had so many rehabs at Polar Park this year that were visiting pitchers. Max Scherzer and Shane Bieber both pitched at Polar Park, and they are a game away from going to the World Series. You know, Jim Kane and I, Jim is one of the broadcasters for the Woo Sox. We talked about Toronto when they came in. We always have these little conversations before the games. And I think it was a time where people weren't really buying Toronto, and they came into Boston and played well, and we were like, this is a good club. I mean, I think a lot of people were saying that this year. But still, I think there's a hint of surprise if they get there. But there shouldn't be. I mean, they were one of the better clubs in baseball all season. They were pretty damn consistent. And I love Game 7. So whoever wins tonight, the World Series will start on Friday. And we don't know where. It's right now L.A., Seattle, at Toronto, or L.A. So if Seattle, it's based on record. If Seattle wins, they're at the Dodgers. If Toronto wins, they are home Friday. So a lot of inter-squad games for the Dodgers. Speaking of that, all right, I want to get to this. The Murakami thing, that's been a big thing. I know that a lot of you who play MLB The Show, Munetaka Murakami has been in that game because they had a lot of the international players for the World Baseball Classic. So I bet people who have played the video game are saying, I want him because he's a good card, as they say. Now, do we really want the Red Sox to sign him? Or do we just want a signing? I know he's older. That's going to happen. 25 to me is not old. He's been playing professionally since he was 18. He was injured last year. We know that. And guys that are there are not finished products. The home run numbers, he had 56 and 22 at 22 years old. Power. Third baseman, first baseman. Left-handed hitter. Going to be a lot of money, the posting fee and all that. I don't know. I honestly think he's going to go to the Dodgers. I really do. I think that the Japanese market has been pretty much figured out by the Dodgers. They have a sponsorship department that handles exclusively Japanese sponsors. They all follow one another, and why wouldn't they? I mean, there are people shocked that Yamamoto went to L.A. Why would you not want to be with Ohtani? Why would this guy not want to be with Ohtani? Well, he might not like him. Well, so what? There's comfort there. I think this could be one of those charades. Again, I said it. I wish I had been doing this podcast when Yamamoto and Sasaki, and I said, what are we even talking about here? They're going to the Dodgers. And I think this is the same thing. I don't see anyone having a chance. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know the guy personally. But I don't know. I just think it's going to be one of the worst hidden secrets again. Third baseman, first baseman with power. That will cost you a lot. Wouldn't it be worth just using those resources somewhere else? That's what I'd rather do, to be honest. I know we like the flashy signing, and I think there's excitement. It's like opening a present. I'm okay playing with the present from last year, which would be translation to fans mostly is, well, not all. You guys want a starting pitcher, but I want resources going towards things that you really need. If you think about it, I get there could be a possible hole at first base and all of that. But at the end of the day, you could solve that internally. You need to figure out another starting pitcher because we think Bayo should be slid down a little. If in this situation there's an opening for a possible Joe Ryan, Dylan Cease, I want those things, the positions of importance, to be solved first. First base is not a position of importance to me over a starting pitcher and a third baseman. That's third on the list. I get it. Alonso's right-handed hitting power. I get this guy's power and all that. I'd rather have the starting pitcher. I mean, it's basically, you're seeing it, in postseason right now. And you could sign a free agent. You could do things. You can figure that out. And we don't know about Casas, of course. But I want the high priority positions solved first. But I don't really. To me, Murakami, pass. I don't see, unless maybe with Bregman something happens. But then we're, it'll be a lot of money for an unknown, which is not always a bad thing. I'm just saying that would be the Joe Ryan money I'd like to see. All right, left field is interesting. I think people sometimes take some of my Duran stuff personal. It's not personal. He's just not as good of an outfielder as Rafael or Abreu. That's not an opinion. There's a reason he didn't play. Think about this. When Jostinson Garcia got called up, he played center over Duran. That should tell you all you need to know. And he didn't play a lot of center this year. They scratched that. And they never played him in right. So if he can't play those positions, he's a left fielder at Fenway, which he's not. I mean, let's be honest. He has his times where he's not good at it. I'm not against Duran. I think he does some unbelievable dynamic things offensively. I think he took a huge step back last year because you got to remember the expectations for him are different, whether that's fair or unfair. He's older than the other guys. He was an all-star. He was an all-star MVP. He had a really good 23. He had a really good 24. And 25 was a mixed bag. Offensively, really good numbers. Less homers, more RBIs. I thought the stolen base, 24 for a guy with that speed. Too many strikeouts. 169 is too many for that type of player. But durable, dynamic. But does he fit over Roman Anthony? No. Roman Anthony's your left fielder. I mean, I think that's a no opinion thing, right? Or do they rotate all four of those guys with one DHing? I don't think they're going to do that. I don't think they want to do that. They don't want to have Anthony DH, or maybe they do. Maybe they think that saves him a little bit. I don't think so. You still can get hurt from hitting, and I'm sure a lot of that injury he had was from his swing at times. I think it's very interesting to see what they did. We'll know soon, but you want those three guys to play every day. And I think that's where sometimes, the reason I'm addressing this is because I will hear people say, yes, the outfield should be that, but we should keep Duran. Okay, well, so should he DH? And then you get rid of Yoshida? We'll see. I just think if that's someone that somebody wants for a pitcher, I don't honestly think, I think we've overvalued him at times. I don't know if you can get, I mean, he would be part of a huge package, but I don't know if you're going to trade Joe Ryan if the Twins want someone like Jarren. We don't know that. We have no idea. We don't know if they already tried this. Right? I mean, they might have tried this in the offseason. People have said, well, they could have gotten rid of him after the MVP season. How do you know they didn't try? We assume a lot of things in baseball, because of what we read on social media. There is 1,000 conversations going on that you have that none of us have any idea. I've heard stories years later about potential deals that would blow your socks off. So what I've tried to say, and I know listen, I don't dislike Duran at all, but if you have another piece similar to what they did with Manny Margot was a duplicate. Now that's different because he was a prospect, but he was a guy they really liked, but they had Benintendi, Bradley, and Mookie, and that helped them get Craig Kimbrell. It's a little different, but my point is, if they're set with that outfield and they don't want to DH Duran, and maybe he doesn't want to do that, then the writing's kind of all the wall, right? But it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see what they do, because I do like having the four outfielders, though, like that. And like we said last year, they did that, I think, because of the situation they were in. They were winning. They were able to do that. But like long term, they don't want to do that. I'm not opposed to them keeping all four and rotating, but I just don't think that that's what they're going to do. I think we kind of figured it out. So interesting to hear your thoughts. But I think a Joe Ryan deal is going to be, it's going to be a lot. And I still, part of me still thinks there is no reason, if I put on a Minnesota Twins hat, it makes no sense in a division that really is not that strong. You got to look at their division. It's a very winnable division every year. And with 2 more years of control, it would be foolish of them to do that. Because they could hold, now you could say, well, you could get her, sure, all of that. But they could hold out longer and get more. There's things internally, maybe he does not want to, he's already told them, I won't sign here long term, but I don't know. Part of me still thinks that's a pipe dream, but of course we'd love to see it. And we'd love your comments, so we'll get those to you now from Friday. At Brent Bell, 7235, I have dreams of Rafaela becoming a Red Sox version of Pete Crow Armstrong. He's there defensively, just need the bat skills to mature. I don't think it's possible. No, I think, like I said on Friday, we are being too hard on some of these guys. 2 years in the big leagues should not be a measuring stick and say that's the end-all, end-all. And to your point, Pete Crow Armstrong's first major league season, he had 237 with 10 home runs. And then the next year, 247, but 31 homers, 35 steals. He was an all-star, and he's an incredible defensive player. So, I think going into 25, a lot of people had a mixed bag on Crow Armstrong, and he'll get better. 1,000 at-bats is not a lot in the big leagues. It takes time for these guys. That's a good comparison. At Matty Mull, 29, Detroit trading Skubal would be signaling a rebuild. I suppose they need to look at it are they going to resign him? Yeah. Any prospect would have to be ready now and keep them competitive. I was getting shot down on comments for saying a package of below would be too much. I agree with you. Probably need to include a major league piece, but it's for a year. Yeah, see, that's why I don't think they would do. I mean, you've made the playoffs 2 years in a row. He's been probably a huge reason why. If you get rid of him now, you're hurting your business. I think I get what a lot of fans are saying. Well, if he's going to go, true, but you have a business and a fan base to run. And if you give up after you just made the playoffs and you had a pretty good run, that's bad business. And yes, doing things like that matter. I know people don't like when I talk about this sometimes. You have to appease the business part of it. It's not going to matter who. If you're a Tiger fan, think about this if you're a Red Sox fan. You would not give two you-know-whats who you got for Crochet. If you had the run Detroit had with Crochet, and all of a sudden they made the play. Can you imagine that if that happened here? It doesn't make any sense for them to do that. To do that again, a winnable division, a very weak division. Cleveland had 1 month of good baseball and won the division, and still didn't play. They were not a good team. They had 1 good month. That's not a good team to me. They showed in the postseason. That was not a great team at all. I give them credit for that run, but I just think that would be just an awful, awful business move for the Ilitches to do that. And what that would show for the rest of the team, what it would show for future free agents. Now, if they don't give him the money he wants and they offered him something competitive, listen, the beginning of these deals are always like this. Oh, they're far apart. They're always far apart. It doesn't matter who is involved. But yeah, so the package, Tolley or Early, it wouldn't be Tolley. They're not going to take a reliever. Witherspoon, he hasn't pitched yet. Why Garcia, no. Arias or Campbell, they're not going to take Campbell because of the money. It'd have to be Early, Duran. Probably Early, Ralph. I mean, you got to think of the deal you made with. I know Crochet's younger and all that, but Skubal is a Cy Young pitcher. None of those guys would work. Detroit's not doing that. Their fans would not want that. It would have to be like Rafaela and or Duran. Really, I mean, and I know Red Sox fans make trades, and I get it. That they're comfortable with. And I get where we look at it, well, if he doesn't sign, he just walks away. Sure. I would rather that happen than to if you pull the plug on him, that would be one of the worst baseball moves if they do that right now, considering it just made the playoffs 2 years in a row, and he was a huge part of it. I just don't think that, same with the Twins in a bad division. Like if you sit here right now, if Detroit ran back their team, they could certainly. I mean, the White Sox aren't going to be good anytime soon. So it's going to be the same three again next year. And you do play different, depending on your division. At Jonathan Racino 5894, Schwarber is the obvious choice. Is valuably high compared to 4 off seasons ago when he signed with Philly. Schwarber can hit bombs, but man, these past 4 years in Philly, his batting average was not good to say the least. Yeah. Yep, true. And finally, the Sox need to add another ace. That'd be nice. It's not that easy to do that. Reiner Alcantara. Alcantara has come out and said he does not want to leave Miami. That's why they did not trade him. So he how much saying does he have in that? I think a lot. He wants to stay there. I'd love to see Ryan. Add more bullpen depth. Kelly and even Slayton extremely inconsistent. Well, yeah, I'm not going to beat up on the bullpen. That bullpen was pretty damn good this year. You can't have 8 lockdown guys. Slayton was hurt. I agree with you with Kelly. You know, the stuff is a tease. The stuff's off the charts, but Slayton's pretty damn good. He was just, it's hard when you're hurt. But I don't think the bullpen is – that's an easy fix. They have plenty of guys. They don't need to add any more. They have tons of internal options that they can make relievers. And, they might add a couple pieces, but that to me is very low important. You're running back the same back end. You could have Fitz as a reliever in there. Perales. Tolley. We'll see. It should be fun. All right, Monday is over. That's our Monday episode of the week. We only do one Monday episode each week. Did you know that? It's Red Sox Now presented by FanArch. I'm Mike. At the Radio Mike is the handle. Leave your comments. We'll talk to you on Tuesday. As always, go Sox.